What's up? What's up, YouTube? This is my part two. This is my continuation to is Michael Jordan really the greatest basketball player of all time? Is he really the greatest? Or is just what or that's what we believe because of the hype that he produced? As I said in my part one, the man did dominate in this era. And he did, and I don't believe nobody dominated quite the way he did. And and it's a damn shame how they give Michael Jordan all the credit. Even though he had a team, even though he had a sidekick by the name of Scottie Pippen, he had a great all-around small forward that he played with in all of his championship runs. And he had the best role player ever, I think anyway. That's just my opinion. Scottie Pippen wasn't no joke, man. And in my opinion, they trying to compare LeBron James to MJ. That's not possible. LeBron got a long way to go. And in my book, in my opinion, LeBron James got a long way to catch up with Scottie Pippen. To me, LeBron James is not on Scottie Pippen's level. But anyways, as I was saying in my part one, or I just add on to my part one, I believe MJ, Michael Jordan, who is considered to be the best basketball player that ever lived. He's considered to be the best or the greatest basketball player ever that ever stepped on a basketball court. A man that went to the championship 6 times. A man that went to the championship 6 times and never lost. He beat Magic and his group. He beat Clyde Drexler and his group. He beat Gary Payton, Sean Kemp and their group. He beat Karl Malone and John Stockton twice with their group. And he also beat Charles Barkley and his group. Because of the Bulls, because of the Chicago Bulls, Patrick Ewing never got in the ring. Because of the Chicago Bulls, Reggie Miller did not get a ring. There were so many great players that was in the 90s era that did not receive a ring or did not receive a championship because of the Chicago Bulls. But my point is this. When Jordan retired, when Michael Jordan stepped away from the game, the Bulls was on a winning streak. They had won 3 in a row. They won 3. And MJ decided to step away from the game at the peak of his career. He decided to walk away from the game and go to minor leagues. Yeah, it sounds kind of crazy, so I think I'll repeat it. MJ just had won 3 titles. 3. Won 3 in a row. But he decided to step down and retire and go play in the minor leagues. Baseball. He went from being the greatest basketball player to retire, just to step back, just to go backwards into the minor leagues and to make a fool out of himself. Then once he realized that he made a fool out of himself, now he wanted to come back into the spotlight. Now he want to come back to be the great one that he once was. But in that year and a half that he was gone, a new powerhouse was on the map at this time, and that was Olajuwon and his group, the Houston Rockets. Now y'all should remember this, especially the basketball fans that grew up in my era. Houston Rockets, they won that year that Jordan decided to retire. They won that. In the second year, they also won it. But in that second year, they brought Clyde Drexler over. So now Olajuwon had Clyde Drexler with him. And on the Houston Rockets' second run, MJ decided to come back. I think he came back like in the middle of the season, I believe it was. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was in the middle of the season, just before the playoffs hit. Jordan came back, and he was wearing number 45. You know, they had announced that Jordan was coming back, and that he would be wearing number 45, and and they were saying that, you know, Jordan been away for a year, and he's got to get his timing back, and he got to get in basketball shape. I mean, they were making up all kinds of excuses when Jordan came back. But I remember when he came back, and he was wearing number 45. And I think he scored like 55 points. I might got the number wrong, but I believe it was 50 points or 55 points, what it was. But it was a high number. He scored like 50 points against the New York Knicks. I mean, he played his ass off in that game. So at the end of the game, when they was asking him, well, you know, you scored this amount of points, and his response was, it's just something about Madison Square Garden. That's what he said. You know, but he scored some points. I think that was the only game, but that might have been the most points that he scored when he came back. Okay, but you're supposed to be the greatest, but you should have proved it when you came back mid-season. And I'm going to tell y'all how Jordan cheated us. He cheated us out of a finals with the Houston Rockets. So Jordan comes back. Like I said, he comes back. He's wearing number 45. Alright, you know, certain games he played, he scored maybe 10 points, 12 points, some shit like that. And you know, he go to Madison Square Garden, he score over 40 points. Then boom, playoff time comes around. By that time, Jordan should have got his rhythm back. The greatest player on earth at that time, the greatest player ever, the greatest player of all time, should have gotten his rhythm back, should have gotten his swagger back, whatever you want to call it. Goddammit, he should have had that back at that time. Man, you had time to be ready. Come on, now you're the greatest. But anyways, they in the playoffs, and this is when Shaq, you know, had his group. You had a young Shaq then, a young, hungry, just a young, hungry Shaq at that time, and he had Penny Hardaway. a young group, and the Orlando Magic ain't had no business beating the Chicago Bulls in the playoffs, man. They ain't had no business doing that. And you had MJ at the time. Come on, man. I mean, Jordan played like shit against the Orlando Magic. And after all this time, I got to wonder why. Why did Jordan do this? Why did the greatest player of all time let a young team like Orlando Magic beat them and sent them home? Orlando Magic went on to face the champions, the Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets swept Orlando out of the championship game. Orlando didn't even win a game. They didn't win a game. Because Orlando did not belong in the finals with the champions, the Houston Rockets. It's supposed to have been the Chicago Bulls. And I believe MJ, the greatest basketball player of all time, cheated us out of that. He cheated us out of that, man. And it took me years to realize this shit. Just like you hear somebody say, well, Floyd Mayweather, he ducked Manny Pacquiao. Oh, he ducked this person. He ducked that person. He's a ducker. Well, goddamn it, I'm here to say that Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time, he ducked Olajuwon in the finals. Goddamn it, yeah, I said it. Because I believe that Olajuwon had a goddamn team. I mean, you had Olajuwon, you had Clyde Drexler, you had Robert Horry. I mean, Sam Cassell. You go on and on and on. I mean, the Houston Rockets were so deep. They were so deep with talent. And like I said, they won the year before. They won the year before without Clyde Drexler. Come on, man. Y'all got to see this. So yeah, Jordan, he went 6 times. Yeah, he went 6 times. Yeah, he won all 6 championships. Yeah, he's 6-0. Some say he didn't have to go 7 games in the championship. Some say he didn't have to go 7 games in the finals. And he's 6-0. But would he be 6-0 if they would have faced the Houston Rockets? And I believe Jordan realized that, man. That's why he played like shit against the Orlando Magic. Yeah, I said it, and you heard it from me first. Goddamn right, I said it. That's what I'm thinking. Come on, man. You supposed to be the greatest basketball player ever, and then you come back in mid-season and get eliminated by a young team, and you're a 3-time champion. Hey, come on. Come on. Come on, man. You know what I mean? If any time a boxer, any time a professional fighter can take time off for a year and some change and come back out of retirement and perform at an elite level, at a high level, and defeats a world-class fighter so easily, But you supposed to be the greatest basketball player that ever lived, and you took a year off, came back in mid-season before the playoffs started, and you couldn't take your team to the finals to face Olajuwon and his team. That is the only blemish. That is the only stain to me that Jordan has on his legacy. Because I feel cheated. I mean, you beat Barkley, you beat Kemp, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter. I mean, you defeated all these great players, man. But you cheated Olajuwon out of that. Not only did you cheat Olajuwon out of that, but you cheated me and the rest of the basketball fans that was watching this shit years ago. And then these fans sucking your dick so hard, they ain't giving Scottie Pippen no fucking credit. I can't stand that shit. I wasn't really a Chicago Bulls fan back then, but I watched the Bulls games. I was fucking with the Knicks back then. You know what I'm saying? Ewing and John Stocks and Charlie Ward and Charles Oakley and the battles that they had back in the day. But I recognize the greatness in Scottie Pippen. On the nights that Jordan played like shit, Scottie carried the team. He carried them. But do he get any credit? Fuck no. He don't get no credit for it. And the man that's right here, the man that's supposed to be the greatest player of all time, this is what the world is saying. But right now, him being the greatest of all time is being in question right now because of LeBron James. And I repeat, LeBron James ain't got shit on this dude right here. Even though I question Michael Jordan being the greatest of all time, but LeBron James ain't got nothing on this dude, man. Nothing. I mean, no disrespect to LeBron James, but shit, he ain't even close. He ain't close, man. But yeah, but that's the only beef that I got with MJ. That's the only blemish that I see that's on his resume. That's the blemish that I could put on his legacy. You know, I mean, you won 3 years in a row. Then the Rockets came in and won 2 years in a row. But the Rockets had to beat the hell out Shaq and this goddamn group. I mean, made Orlando look foolish. It wasn't a competition. I mean, they won their championship with easily. When you MJ, when you and your team should have been in the finals with Olajuwon, but you knew, I believe you knew that you couldn't handle Olajuwon and Drexler and his cast or his supporting cast. You already knew you couldn't beat the Rockets. That's what I think anyway. I think you knew that the Bulls was not ready to beat or face Houston Rockets. And that's why you blew it with the Orlando Magic. And you let the Orlando Magic go to the finals and get embarrassed. Yep. My thoughts, YouTube. I'm out.